This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. It's announcement day. Delighted to be joined by Kalle Sauerland and Dean Baker of Wasserman Boxing now.
Absolutely. It's a big day, Rob. Big day, big announcement, big new player, big old and new player. And looking forward to a very exciting future, taking things up a level.
Very exciting indeed. You mentioned there kind of the new and the old, or a new player, but the old player, of course, I've dealt with both Wasserman and Team Sauerland independently over the years. Talk to me about how this new partnership came to fruition.
Should I take the lead? I think it was Dean put a call into my brother last summer, eight months ago. They've been talking about a few different ideas, and look, you have to understand the size of Wasserman for someone who you know, Rob, a lot about them, but if you don't know, they have 2,000 clients in with 30 offices, 1,200 employees, and when I say clients, it's everything from, I think, 40 Premier League greats in the top 100. 100 Premier League clients, NHL clients.
Premier League winners, 25 of the top 100 all-time best.
Yeah. Premier League players
voted for by 442.
And that's where we want to get to with boxing. So, it was obviously an long 8 months. We weren't a company that was looking to sell. We're a family business since the late 70s, since the first show in Africa, 1978. So it was, it was a process where we had to understand each other's businesses more or less. A lot of that was at the early stages, and for us, it was of course it's professional boxing, so money is a big factor, but it was also a case of how can we make, as a promotional outfit, how can we strengthen, and how can we take things to a new level? And then you look at the dimensions of what Wasserman does for its athletes, for its clients, and those range from very young players. They've got the superstar in the Bundesliga at the moment, Mukuku, to former players like Graham Souness, Jamie Carragher. The list is endless. So it's a spectrum of services for the client, but also what they do for their brands. And I think that in boxing, the promoter is always very reliant on the broadcaster. And the broadcaster in other sports, you get to plug in and the product runs. In boxing, a lot of the promotion is based on what the broadcaster does with it. And of course, promoters are good at promoting. But this takes that level, I think, up a notch. If you look at the manpower, look at the infrastructure, you can't argue really against that. And I'm sure there's other promoters that will be saying, "Oh, that's it's just about money. It's this, that, the other." No, it's not, because this takes it to a whole new place. Of course, it's about what the athletes can then ultimately earn as well. It's once again professional boxing, paid boxing, prize fighting. But to do that in a way where we do the role that really the promoter should be doing more of, and maybe less the broadcaster. I mean, the broadcaster should still keep doing what they're doing, of course, but that the promoter is really fulfilling its role. And to do that, if you want to attack in a lot of different markets, you need infrastructure. And there, I don't think there's 100% no promoter on planet Earth that can say today that they're set up the way we are now. That's even with the wildest of imaginations, I think we're in a league of our own there. So, the first thing is to attack. We have a great client list already. We have obviously Chris Eubank Jr., the WBSS winner, Myris Breedis, Filip Hrgovic. We've got a string of athletes in the top 10 out of Germany now, which hasn't had a world champion in a year or two, but there's 5 Germans now in the top 10 of various rankings. So it's exciting times. But we're not going to be sitting around for long. It's attack in terms of new signings, you know, and that'll be the first step.
Dean, I just want to bring you in here, Dean Baker from Wasserman. First and foremost, congratulations! Very exciting deal for Wasserman and boxing in general. Just want to get your thoughts on why now? Why now make the move into boxing, and why, with all due respect to Kalle being sat there, why Kalle Sauerland?
Well, first question, why now? It's something we've toyed with for a while, Rob, but you've got to be set up to do it, and you've got to have the right people driving it. And we're set up to do it, but having the right people to drive it, you know, it's not the type of business that we would go into half-heartedly. And a number of people have approached us in the past, and it wasn't quite right for us. And we were happy representing fighters and managing fighters and working kind of on the other side of it, on the other side of the desk, negotiating with Kalle. Why now? I was lucky enough it was a Friday afternoon. I had a couple of beers in the sun. I rang Nissa on a whim, and Nissa said that could be interesting. I spoke to Kalle the next morning. I then rang my boss and said, you know what? I think I might have started something. And here, you know, we just don't go into something unless we go something full throttle. So Casey Wasserman, our owner, is fully behind it. He's giving these guys all the resources they're going to need to make a success. And why the Sauerlands? Well, then we started working together on Anthony Agogo and also George Groves a number of years ago. Wasserman worked with George for his last 13 fights. And I'd worked with the guys, always had a really sort of strong relationship, very transparent, but also we had fun doing it. You know, we had fun putting fights together and flying out to their amazing shows in Germany and being part of things in other countries. And we just enjoy it. And that's what we're about, really. Let's do some good business. And we're boxing fans here, Rob, you know, massive boxing fans. The whole office is. So many of our staff and also our clients are behind this, and we just felt, yeah, and that's what sort of gave me the courage to make that call and ask if we can buy out the family business.
Kalle, we've spoken at length previously about kind of, you mentioned it yourself there, in the last few years, German boxing has not been as strong as it has been in other periods of time. This is, of course, not something that's just going to focus exclusively on German boxing, but aside from the work that you've done recently with the World Boxing Super Series, how exciting is this for you from a promotional point of view? I bet you can't wait to get your teeth into something like this.
I mean, you know, we've always, well, since I more or less took over Team Sauerland and let's say the late noughts, or how you put it, around 2008, 2009. I think the first thing I did was put together the World Boxing Super, the World Boxing Super Series, I was going to say, was the Super Six at the time. You know, that was really my first mark on boxing. When we had that incredible lineup, and then we sort of grew from territory to territory, moving away from being a solely German promoter. And you know, you can't look at one market when you do boxing, and you've seen it. You know, you've seen like the UK went through terrible times where, you know, Matchroom completely pulled out the market. Frank sort of kept the flag going a bit, and then you know, there was the summer of 2012, I guess, the Olympics, which was a lot of, but just before that as well, it came back, and then it's booming, you know, and it's cyclical, you know, and so we'll look at the good news for Germany at the moment is that there's finally, you know, 5 guys in the top 10. And one of them has to make it. You need world champions in markets, but for us, the whole vision isn't particularly on one market. Of course, the UK at the moment is a boom market. It's a market we've just signed, you know, one of the top 5 pay-per-view attractions in the UK. Definitely one of the top 5 names in the UK, and we'll build on that in the UK. In Germany, there's not really much more talent we can sign currently because we've got everything that there is in Germany that's of note. But there's other markets that I'm not going to directly divulge here, but watch this space, because we'll be going into different territories. We've thrown curveballs over the last 20 years that I've been doing it, you know, from Finland to Bulgaria to all the different sort of places around the world. We've gone with it. You know, it's I will say it's a dangerous business when you strictly focus on a market. You know, and we believe that we are set up, or we know we're set up in a way now to really attack and really go for certain markets, and absolutely keep on saying it, taking it to another level.
You keep mentioning kind of attack. We want to attack, go on the front foot. I think it's probably fair to say that this is quite an aggressive move into the market.
I just had 2 coffees.
Going back through the period of time that we've known each other, you've never been shy. You've always been open to collaboration and working with other promoters. That I assume will be the same way here. You're still...
Yeah, I know. We're doing it. So yeah, like I said, I just had a double espresso. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is not. I don't mean we're going to go in there and try and take boxers out of contract, whatever. No, I mean, there's enough opportunities for enough promoters. There's not. It's not like there's suddenly an extra new player in. No, it's an old player which has, you know, overnight increased in power through like I've said before, a couple of very, very important points. I think we're extremely well financed operation, and we're also extremely multi-layered in terms of the offering to the athlete, the broadcast, or whatever it is, and the flexibility, you know, and the infrastructure. Rob, you've seen it, and I'm not going to go into other examples, but you see when promoters are stretched. You know, you see when just simply you can't grow beyond a certain level. Yeah, and you know, the only way to do that is, in my opinion, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, I'm here to give mine, is for us was to link up with the biggest, bar none, agency in the sport, bar none. And that's what we've done. So that's what it is. I mean, the approach will be, you know, business as normal. Just, you know, like I said, got a bit of we now got some ambitious targets to hit as a company.
Just going over to you, Dean. Kalle mentions there ambitious targets. What's ultimately the end goal here for this collaboration, this merger, if you will? What's the super objective for Wasserman Boxing now?
I would say we at Wasserman, you know, American business, we think quite big, you know, American sport. There's an awful lot we learn over here from US sport and vice versa. And you know, the guys I work for always think big. That's how they've managed to corner the market in sort of baseball, basketball, etc. in the US. And we want to think big, you know. And I think from our point of view, we needed the right people behind the wheel. And so let's make no bones about it, the UK market is extremely interesting for us because we've got a huge office in London. Kalle and Nissa are based in London, and so, but it won't be exclusive to the UK market, but that's an interesting market for us, of course. It's what we've had some success here so far, but we need to take that, as Kalle said, to a whole new level. And then from a personal point of view, I'm part of the sort of leadership group here. It'll be Kalle, Nissa, Damien McSorley and Fari Eshvet. And we'll be sort of part of a leadership group. We'll be trying to arm them with as much resources as possible to move forward as quick as possible and really start to get some great nights. I think from our point of view at Wasserman, even from a staff point of view, as well as the clients, we want to experience some great nights, some nights that get, you know, you make you tingle, and we are capable of doing that now. That's what I would say. So big plans. We've got a lot of contacts already within the business and the sport. We've got another sort of black book of contacts that we can open up for the guys in terms of broadcasters, media, all new trends, growing social media trends, everything that we've done in other sports. my point of view, I want to open those books up. You know, I think we've got the right people now completely to drive this forward. And, you know, I'll stay in my lane, which has predominantly been football. But so 90% of my working week will be football, with the other 10% of the working week and all of my spare time taken up with the boxing, and let these guys do what they do best and spend 100% of their time and 100% of their spare time trying to create big events and good nights out for people.
Spare time, Dean? You must be in the wrong job.
Yeah, spare time. I know. I don't mean that. There's no such thing as spare time or free time.
Just sticking with what you said there, Dean, about broadcaster. Now, a lot of talk around Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn and whether or not they're going to re-sign with Sky or whether they're going to go to the Zone. This kind of move here is only going to, raise, not say suspicions, or put people wondering where you're going to lay your hat from a broadcast perspective. Is Sky something that you're going to be looking to target, or is that still too early to say?
I would say that Kalle's best place to answer that, Rob. But yeah.
I mean, just to make it very, very clear, this is a major deal, and it's not based on a potential business opportunity. The opportunity is boxing, and I think everyone is aware that there's a situation ongoing, which, by the way, is a tribute to Matchroom and how great a job they've done at Sky. That there's a real sort of poker game going on between Sky, Matchroom, and DAZN, apparently. I mean, that's fantastic. I think Eddie's done a sensational job. No, I don't. This is not about going in and trying to hijack something, whatever. Let's put it on paper. We're very ambitious. We've got one of the, like I said before, we've got a great UK asset already in Eubank Jr., who's out on a show together with Matchroom and Sky on May the 1st, and so we will work with everyone, and we will also work with Eddie on other fighters, and that won't stop. Look, if someone makes a move to one share is left open, of course, of course you'd have discussions, but I think there's also other things we'll be doing together with Matchroom down the line as well. We've worked together for many years, and from that point of view, that won't change. It's simply that we might go into markets where at the moment there's no boxing. As we forget, one of our clients is the World Boxing Super Series winner, is Myra Spridis. I mean, that's a very interesting market, the Baltics at the moment as well. So that's something that we'll be looking to increase there, as we have done historically. We've historically gone into new territories. Finland, back in the days of Robert Helenius, we were the first pay-per-view shows we did there with Helenius, Chisora, and massive events over there. So we've always had an eye for new territories and having great fun there. We've promoted in the National Stadium of Denmark, but we've also done it in the National Stadium of Bulgaria or many other interesting places. So, I think it would be unwise on the first day now to say this is the market we're going to. This is, like Dean said, the UK, of course, it's a boom market at the moment, and we have a boom asset in that market already. So yes, we of course will have our eyes and ears to the ground and have those the meetings which come about, and it is attack, but it doesn't mean we're trying to attack and destroy it. It's something which we've managed to do over 50 years to grow very, very nicely as a business, year after year, and that will continue just at an accelerated pace.
I just want to bring your attention to a tweet from Barry Hearn that somebody sent me just before we started the interview. He's replied to, this is not usually my style, as I'm sure you can vouch for, Kalle. I'm not a he said, she said merchant, but underneath the announcement from the Sauerland brothers, Barry Hearn has put joke, which I didn't.
Okay. I'm not going to comment on it. Barry had a knee-jerk reaction there and put it on Twitter. I'll put it down to that. I'll let you make your own mind up on that.
Okay.
It's yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I'm not going to comment on it. I mean, I'm sorry if anyone feels bitter or anything, but it's at the end of the day, it is what it is, you know. But that's hopefully just a knee-jerk reaction.
Okay. Just final one from me, Kalle. You mentioned the World Boxing Super Series, which has of course been what you've been, championing for the last few years. Does this impact on the World Boxing Super Series at all, or the future of the World Boxing Super Series?
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. No, my role is, as it was at Team Sauerland, is unaffected as it would be under Wasserman now. And if anything, the infrastructure here will help that. So, my role at as Chief Boxing Officer at the World Boxing Super Series is the same as it always has been, and it's my pride and passion project. Can't wait to get season 3 up and running. We're in the process now of, working out where we are with the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic. It's not an event, it's a season. And, those sporting decisions, like I always have to repeat, they're not my decisions. They're what I put together, the lineups, and those are then signed off by an independent board at the World Boxing Super Series. Those lineups, of course, I think they speak for themselves, what we've delivered so far. The fights speak for themselves. They've broken every type of award record that there has been, and it's a proof, and proof is in the pudding, I always say. And let's long will it go, because we can't wait for season 3, and it's going to be worth the wait. We've had this. The issue has been that it's so difficult to plan a season around a pandemic. It's so different to doing a one-off event. We saw the issues we already had with the final last year. I mean, we were the first organization to promote the number 1 against the number 2 in the division during the pandemic, and bringing them together in neutral territory across the Atlantic. A Cuban living in America against a Latvian. That was, such a fantastic team at WBSS, and they did a terrific job. And that's why, they are raring to go.
Okay, well, that's music to my ears. As you know, big supporter of the World Boxing Super Series, as I think any real, true boxing fan should be as well. Kalle Sauerland, Dean Baker, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Congratulations again on what I'm sure will be a very fruitful move for both of you. Look forward to hearing more and seeing more in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, thanks very much, and I look forward to catching up with you both soon.
Thanks, Rob.